Well, I think it's all over now. Things have opened wide up here where I live in Arizona. I know there's still a few hot spots where it seems like it's more politics than medical. But yeah, we're ready to go. Get out there and play and live your dream. That's all I got to say. Get out there and do it. We're good to go.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host Brian, and joining me today is a special guest, Jeff Janssen. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing very good. Where are you hailing from, actually?
I am in Glendale, Arizona, right just northeast of Phoenix, uh, where the Cardinals are playing the Eagles today.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
about 12 miles north of where the stadium is, so that's what's going on. Are you Philly or Pittsburgh? Where are you?
Pittsburgh, and today was not a good day to be a Steeler fan, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yesterday was not a good day to be a Cardinals fan because I hail from St. Louis, but I've lived in Phoenix for the last 40 years, and Philly. Yeah, never mind. Okay, move on.
No, you're good. And I was just going to say I was in Phoenix not too long ago, and I was trying to figure out where Glendale was in conjunction to it. And there's actually going to be a funny story behind it, but I'll just say I got there at night, and it was beautiful looking, driving through it on the outskirts there and into the suburbs too. So I will say, very beautiful city, and I think it's...
My wife and I love it here. I've been here for 40 something years, and so is she. And it's wonderful. We love it.
Let's see. And get back into drumming. Congratulations first. Congratulations are in order for reaching 21 million.
Thank you very much.
21 million views.
It's all it's all fun and games, man.
Yep.
It's all fun and games.
I'll start doing the golf tap. All that
Now
stuff.
if I could get a buck for every view, then we're talking.
You know what? I saw that too, and you posted it, and you said I only made 22 cents.
22 cents.
I know.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know what? I think one of the comments was from Rick Griffin, who's also a drummer in our community. He, I think he said it deals with like the copyright issues, so that's probably why it doesn't happen.
It's exactly where it is. I own the video. I do not own the audio. So whoever owns the audio, whatever, the Sony or any of those large music companies, they get the click track. They get the clickbait. Sorry, track. No, not track.
Not track.
Yeah,
No,
they get the clickbait. So I get nothing, and I don't care because I never did it for money anyway. I always did it for fun and entertainment. And it started out because some guy said I told him I could play Rush the Trees, and this is at work like 20 freaking years ago. And this guy says, "No, you can't. There's no way you can play the Trees." And like I had just gotten a video camera. I'm like, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll show you." So I played it, and I didn't have a YouTube channel at all or anything like that. Shit, now how am I going to show him? So I opened up a YouTube channel. I let them name it for me because I had no clue how to work any of this stuff. This was way back, like 2006. And I showed him, and it blew him away. And I'm like, huh.
We are not worthy.
I think I'll continue this little enterprise here, and I blew through 3 channels. Well, I blew through 2. I'm still on the 3rd, and it's a lot of fun. I don't make any money. Don't make a dime. Don't care.
Couple cents. To be fair, a couple cents.
I don't care.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Actually, you did kind of jump ahead a little bit because that was actually the first question I had there was, how did you get into drumming? Tell us a little bit about your history.
Okay, so I was a young lad, about 3 or 4, and I started pounding on everything that was near, and it didn't matter if it was a couch or a person or a pot or a pan. And when I turned 4 at Christmas, actually it was right before my 4th birthday, because I'm in January and Christmas is right before my birthday, and my parents gave me a drum and it has a little ribbon around it. You put it on and a couple of sticks. You can walk around the street like the fife and drum folks from the 1776.
Oh,
That type of drum.
little drummer boy,
like,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And they're like, you're not too bad. Then my next door neighbor was older and was in the army and got called to Vietnam, and he played the drums. And his parents asked me, says, "Would you, while he's gone, you're more than welcome to take his drums because we know you love the drums." I'm like, okay. So did that and started getting fairly proficient at a very young age. And he came back from Vietnam and wanted his drums back, and I was devastated. And next thing I knew, I came to dinner one night, and there was a receipt on my plate. And I looked at it, and it was for a drum set from the local music store in St. Louis. And I couldn't believe it. And my parents were cool that way because they knew it was my passion. And so we went and picked up the drum set, and it wasn't all there. It was missing a tom-tom. Again, devastation. No, this can't be. Me. Oh, it's on back order, right? Okay, so it finally came in and all that. That's the very same set I play today, the actual trap kit. I've changed out the snare drum long since, but I've added everything else, all the rototoms and cymbals, because the cymbals that came with were, lousy. So you start spending money on cymbals, they're more expensive than drums. Oh my God. Those things get really pricey. But you got to do what you got to do. So
yeah, absolutely. And when I first stumbled upon your channel, the first video I saw was Dance the Night Away by Van Halen. And you incorporated, I've like seeing all these big drums right here. I'm thinking like, Jimmy Christmas, these are like sizes of gongs on the side right there, but they must be like his floor toms and stuff like that. I guys, walk us through your kit a little bit, because I'm assuming you're not next to it.
No, I'm not next to it. It's in the room. It's in my studio right next door. However, yeah, so I changed out the original snare to a Gretsch 6.5 deep silver sparkle maple. Is it maple? I think it's maple. Yeah, maple snare. And the rest of it is the rest of the trap kit, which is Apollo, which long since got bought out by Pearl, I believe. So I have a 12-inch, a 13-inch, a 16-inch, and a 20-inch bass drum. So it's a really small bass drum. But what I did when I got it, because it would still go boom, 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 and ring. So I went to a local foam rubber place and said, cut me out a half moon about this thick in 20-inch. And they did, and I spray painted the front of it black, and I shoved it in my bass drum, and then now it goes boom, boom, instead of boom, boom. And I've had that thing for, I don't know, 50 years now. It's crazy. It still works great. So I should probably market that. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Did you try anything else in terms of maybe trying to downgrade that sort of boom sort of feeling, or did you try everything and nothing else worked?
A pillow. Throw a pillow in there. I used to have a cat that slept in there. It didn't much longer,
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it worked for a second there.
There's the alarm clock. Yeah, you have to wake him up.
And then, so all the rototoms, the rack toms that are around me, they're all Remo, and they're 6, 8, 10, 10, 12, 16, 18 are the big ones. And I got those when I was working at a music store in St. Louis when I was still in high school, but I was also working there and working part-time at a car wash. So I had some money that I wanted to spend. I knew exactly what I wanted to spend it on, and it was those, and I did. So the 6, 8, and 10 was the first ones that I got. And then a couple months later, I was able to save up enough and get the 10 and 12. Hadn't even seen the 16, 18 yet. So all of a sudden, they showed up at the music store. I'm like, mine. Those are mine. And I have not seen another pair since. And they let me buy them. They let me save up for it and buy them. And, people have offered me a lot of money for those things. I'm like, I'm not like breaking up my set. Are you kidding me? No,
So,
thank you.
I was like, go to hell, that sort of thing. These
Yeah,
are
pretty
mine.
much. It wasn't just no, it was hell no. And yeah, so
I was just gonna say, I was picturing the cartoon moment. He just runs in there, gets the
yeah,
gun, runs all the way back home and locks the doors and everything else.
there will be none of that. So,
I see. Yeah.
and all the other stuff, all the symbols. I don't have a particular brand of symbol that I like. Since I did work at the music store, I was able to try everything at any time that I wanted. I mean, I could pick it up and I could set it on a stand. It's like, oh, I like the sound of that. It sounds like this, and I got cost plus 10. So that's a very good deal in the music business because it's 100% markup. They buy something for $100, they charge you 200. That's standard. I don't care what anybody says. If you're getting a deal, it's because they got a deal, right? They're getting 100% markup. That's the way it is. Worked in that business a long time, and so I match my symbols to what I like. It really didn't matter what brand it was. So I've got anything from Peisty to Zildjian, of course, which is my personal favorite. Sabian, I have a lot of Sabians, and Latin percussion, and even a crut. And it's the crut sounds like a lousy trash can, and the Latin percussion sounds like an expensive trash can. It's just, but it just depends on what the song calls for. So I pretty much got it all nailed down, and all the chimes and bells and triangles and temple blocks and tambourines and even vibra slaps. So
He's got it
it's
all.
all good.
Yeah.
I pretty much have it all. What I really want, I still have two things that I want. I want tubular bells, the long bells, and
Ding,
yeah,
ding,
those
ding.
oh man, those things are wonderful.
Yeah.
And a timpani, an air-controlled timpani with the pedals. Oh, I gotta have one of those.
Bum, 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 bum. That sort of thing, yeah.
It's more of a symphony thing, but Bonham had one. If Bonham had one, JJ deserves one.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I just need a bigger room.
I want what he's having, that sort of
That's
thing, yeah.
right.
Well, it sounds more like you want to do more
the.
the Neil Peart said, which, thinking back on your interview with Drumman, was he one of your influences too?
Peart?
Peart and Bonham, yeah.
Both the top two. Top two.
Did you have like any others outside of those
Oh,
guys?
absolutely. So, Carl Palmer with Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and another really, really big influence was Phil Ehart with Kansas. The guy is totally underrated, but totally technical, and you have to follow his stuff so closely in your head. You can play it boom tap, and hit the say. You can keep the beat, but if you don't hit the nuances and don't hit the fills and stuff, much like Peart and Bonham, you can play that stuff all day long if you just want to keep the beat. But if you want to get it right, and he was one of the most technical. I guarantee you, Peart watched him and said, "Holy crap." I guarantee it.
I got some work to do, yeah.
Yeah, Peart was a guy like that. He'd look at somebody else and say, "I got to go back to practice," and he surpassed most, if not all, probably all in my mind. And some people would disagree, and that's cool. I mean, complete talent is a subjective. It's your opinion against mine, and my opinion is Neil Peart ended up being the best that I've ever seen. But there's so many. I mean, really, for sure. Lots of really, really good drummers out there.
Yeah, absolutely, too. And a lot of underrated ones, too. And did you ever get a chance to see him live?
Kansas?
Kansas, I guess all the guys you just listed, too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I saw Zeppelin in 77 in St. Louis, and I had tickets behind the stage. And I like, behind the stage, this is going to be awful. I'm not going to be able to see anything. Au contraire, I saw everything. they didn't have a curtain behind the stage. It was so I saw not only Led Zeppelin playing from behind, but I saw all the stage hands doing everything that they were doing. Saw the guys climbing up the towers to go, crank the lights and all that and do it. So I saw everything, and it absolutely blew me away. That was in St. Louis in '77. I saw Kansas probably like 5 times because I was from St. Louis and they were from Kansas, and they were a regional band before they went like totally big. And Rush, yeah, I saw them a few times in St. Louis and a couple times here in Phoenix, and never disappointed. Because sometimes I'd go see a band and I'd be disappointed, and like, okay, it was all production. It wasn't your talent. It was, it was all done in the friggin' studio. You suck, but your producer was great. I'm not gonna go there, man. I'm not gonna piss anybody off.
No. I thought you actually would like the shirt too, though, because this is actually.
I do like the shirt. I played plenty of Kiss.
Yeah, you. Oh, I thought that was somebody else. Sorry, I thought one of the guys was playing Deuce, but oh wait, that was Fred Fisher. Yeah, I interviewed him, and he did Deuce from Kiss. I think he did. He did it for a friend who had tragically passed. But I saw these guys live, and thinking back on like the concerts you guys went to, it was almost like, what would happen if you guys had the iPhones in those days to at least film those concerts?
Man,
I'm just picturing you, and it'd be like, where were you when I needed you back 30 years ago?
Right.
Yeah.
I never did see Kiss live. I seriously wish I would have. I mean, I've seen them on video and all that, so I know what their stage show was like. And if I hadn't been a drummer and then ended up being a electronic technician and engineer, and I ended up being a vice president of strategic technology at JP Morgan Chase. I swear to God, ask anybody. I wanted to be a techno master light show dude at concerts. I thought the light shows, when I was growing up, light shows were freaking great. Okay, oh, you got a laser there. Oh, you got an explosion here. That's really what I wanted to do. And I ended up going to college to get an electronics degree so I could figure all this shit out and mixing and all this. And I got out and I moved from Phoenix back to St. Louis, where I grew up. And I opened up the phone book to A and Yellow Pages. Okay, this is how old I am.
Back in the
I
day.
opened up the Yellow Pages way back in the day. And I got a job with a company called AOM. I'm like, what is AOM? Oh, it's a Merrimatic. I'm like, what is that? So come and see us. I'm like, okay. And it was a technical job at a bank. Here I am still, 45 years later, I'm still in the banking industry in the technology section. So you just never know. I never did make it into the music industry on the, stage show and lighting end. I wouldn't mind doing it still, but a little late now.
Yeah, unfortunately, that too. You said they also do all the explosions and everything, so that would have been what the whole song with Black Diamond near the end there, where they do the drum raise and then the explosions all come out and everything too. Yeah, so
it's great stuff, man. I would love to do that.
Yeah, I thought about it too, but then it was like you had to go to like trade school or whatever kind of school you needed to kind of get that stuff. That was.
Oh, yeah, I had to go to pyrotechnics school too. So.
That too, yeah. Yeah, but you don't want to light yourself on fire too and do that kind of crazy stuff.
Well, that always hurts. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I guess, what do you love most about drumming?
It is my stress relief. It is my refuge. It is my, how should I put this? It's really food for my brain to keep it sharp. Learning a song from start to finish without looking at notes and tabs and all that. I'll tell you what, I get asked all the time, can you send me the tab for that song? I'm like, I don't use tabs. I learn with my ears, and that's it. Yeah, I just put it in my head. The only thing I would know how to do with a tab is roll it up and swat a fly with it. That would be good. That's the only value that thing would provide for me. It's really, it keeps your brain sharp. You go, note by note, and fill by fill. And when the bass does this, I do that. And when the guitar does this, I do this. When the singer says this, I do that. And you just kind of put that measurement back into your head and learn it over and over and over and over and over. And you play it until you, not just till you get it right, you play it till you can't get it wrong. So it becomes just muscle memory, back and forth. And I kind of get a kick out of the kids these days that will, talk about, Rock Band and Guitar Hero. I can do this song on this. Well, you can't learn that. You can't learn your craft with your eyes. Your eyes can help you, but you have to learn with your ears and your brain. And I wish I had the advantage of YouTube and all that stuff. Now, when I was learning all these freaking thousands of songs, I had nobody to watch. I just had to listen and say, okay, I think he's doing this. And then I'd play it, and then I'd watch what I just played, and it's like, oh, that was way off, you freaking loser. No, this is what you do here. I'd do it until I got it right. And then I did it until I couldn't get it wrong. And then I started recording stuff, and I just got more proficient at it. And that's just the way it worked out. I'm sorry for my squeaky chair. I don't know what the heck's the matter with this thing.
I got my chair back here too, yeah.
Oh, man. Sounds like my back, but it's not. It's the chair.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Like, actually, mine, it gets a little squeaky when you start pushing back on it too. But it's funny when you mentioned Rock Band, because in my previous interviews, I had always brought that up because that was actually how I got started into it. And, of course, it was just simple. It was like, red is always going to be your snare. And sometimes they did it as the hi-hat, too, as if it's like that sort of thing. They wrote fast ones, too, which was complete BS. But, yeah, yellow, blue, green, and then orange was the kick pedal. That sort of thing, too. But ironically, it actually taught me how to do music theory, which was just like even just keeping like simple time beats at times.
I guess it has its value in certain areas, but as far as learning how to play the drums, you got to use your ears and not your eyes. And
well, in a funny sense, they actually started putting in the hi-hat and one crash and a one ride, so at least gave you somewhat of a sense. But then once you actually get the set, it's like, okay, this is my ride right here. This is what was making that ding, 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 that sort of thing. With a crash right there, and the hat, depending if you're riding. Because I'm mostly right-handed. Are you right-handed too?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like be right here and that sort of thing too. And then I always do a snare in between the legs too. And I'm not sure. Is that what you also do in some cases?
Yeah. Right between the legs.
It has to be in between the legs. And then you obviously have the legs spread out to either do the double bass or just like the simple one, and then the other one's just for the hi-hat to do the open and close too. Have you ever done anything with double bass before?
I have a double bass pedal. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of my life.
I don't think I saw it. That was the thing. But so I thought maybe it was just doing simple one foot. But obviously the song I saw was just doing just simple kicks. Yeah.
The funny thing is, when I play with my band, there's a band that I play with locally, and we've been together for 10 years. We were together for like 5 years, then split up for 10, and have been together for the last 10. And when I go out and play with them, it's a much smaller kit. I don't use my monster in there, and I usually just use a single bass pedal, but I still play any double bass song on the single bass. It just goes, it's what I'm used to. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I need to play. And my bass player the other night said, I didn't know you brought your double. I said, I didn't. He's like, oh,
I give up. We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
Something like that. It was funny.
Yeah, absolutely too. It's funny too because once the 80s start coming around, that's when bands wanted to get like a little faster and stuff like that. They got heavier and that sort of thing. You got the big four, a bit of thrash bands. I know one was in New York and then three out of California. Did you ever get into any of those groups?
Name the groups and I'll let you know.
Anthrax.
A couple songs, yeah.
Slayer?
Not as much. Too much screaming.
I would. Whatever.
I,
I was gonna say. I was gonna
I
say
have
screaming. I know
friends that
screaming. Trust
argue
me.
with me. One of my best friends is a Slayer fanatic, and he argues with me all the time. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't trip my trigger.
Fucking
Next.
Slayer, man. That sort of
Yeah,
thing.
that's pretty much.
That sort of thing. Yeah. All right. So a couple songs. Metallica.
Oh, love it, love them.
You do love
What I
Metallica.
hate about Metallica is everything that I play by them is blocked.
Oh.
Uh,
What? Which
along with multiple other bands, but I have nothing that I'm aware of that's still up by Metallica.
was that? Like their old stuff, or was that just strictly from like the Black album?
It didn't matter.
Really? They did for all the
No, it
songs?
didn't matter. Everything I play is blocked.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Everything worldwide. Nope. Down. Out. So I apparently have a reputation with their record company. So I don't know.
That sort
Whatever.
of thing.
I don't even do it anymore. I don't even try.
Yeah, and I think there was a little controversy with Lars Ulrich too, and I forget what it was, but I think it was like people who are pirating their music, that sort of thing, and then
And that's exactly not what I'm doing. I'm selling more albums than I'm not making a dime. So I don't know how that would be considered pirating. But okay, whatever.
I forget what it is, but you think just putting the
I get it.
disclaimer,
I know what they said.
yeah, okay, and get back into it. Megadeth,
Oh yeah, I like Megadeth.
Negative,
Yeah.
and then there were bands that came actually a little bit after them, but they probably were more in around the same time. But I call them the other four because they took a lot of the influences and made it much more heavier, that sort of thing. Testament,
Never heard of them.
no.
No.
Exodus,
Heard of them? Don't know
no. Overkill,
them. Same.
same.
Heard? Don't know. Yeah.
The same with
I'm
Death
old,
Angel.
dude. Pretty. I'm 61, so
Yeah,
hey,
I know.
I grew up with Zeppelin and folks like that.
Yeah, my dad was kind of the same way, and he never got into like the Iron Maiden and Judas Priest.
I love Iron Maiden.
Do you?
I love Judas Priest. The other one's just a little too hard. And there's another, people ask me, is there nothing you can't play? And I'm like, pretty much nothing. There's a couple things like what's the name of that band? Oh my God, Dragon Slayer. Do you remember? Do you remember that band? Oh my God, if you took 30 years off my life and gave me a gram of coke and let me snort it right there and play that song, their hit.
What was the name of the song?
Maybe I could pull it off. I mean, it was I don't remember. I just remember hearing it and going, there is no way that guy is not on a bunch of coke or they didn't crank up the speed on the mixer, whatever. Yeah, no, and I have to play a song that I like. I have to like it. That's my rule. I have to like it. I have to have it or be able to get it. And three is I have to physically be able to do
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And other than that, open season.
absolutely.
But the first one is paramount. I have to like it. If I listen to it, because I get requests all the time, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a listen. And if I listen to it and I don't like it, I really don't respond to the requester. And it's like, you'll figure it out eventually when it doesn't come up. And if I do like it, then I will respond and say, yep, I'll do that one. I'll get back to you.
So it's like he didn't respond, that sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, figure it out.
Yeah, that sort of thing. You said Dragon Slayer. Was it Dragon Force?
Dragon Force, maybe Dragon Force
Yeah.
could be. It's like, oh my God, my
like all figured out.
son-in-law, when my daughter and him first got married, he said, "Can you do this one?" And I listened to him like, "Nope."
I just listened to the first couple seconds, like, oh,
Yeah, no, sorry. It was probably the first minute, and like, nope, can't do it. And I know they don't do drugs because they both work for the cops.
yeah. Yeah, that would be a bad thing on your resume if you got caught doing
pretty
that too.
much. Yeah, that'd be bad.
Actually, I'm curious what you would think of any of like the more heavier metal that came out in the early '90s there too, and that's when they start getting like real technical too. It was like super fast. Double bass. It was like that sort of thing too.
Um, wasn't an incredibly big fan of that. I mean, most of my influences came from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Some in the 90s when you got into, the Nirvana and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. I guess that was the 90s.
Yeah.
Never really got into the really, really harder stuff. I mean, the hard stuff that I got into was Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Iron Maiden, and all those Iron Maiden's still a current band, but all the older bands back in the day. Rush was at the time not only hard rock but progressive rock. Wouldn't really considered heavy metal, but people like Black Sabbath and Ozzy and all those. Yeah, I love all that stuff. The newer stuff, I don't know.
I don't know, but give credit to Ozzy, even though I think he's
I
actually
love
suffering from
Ozzy.
Parkinson's. I think he's suffering from Parkinson's disease, which is
I love Ozzy.
I know, yeah,
I wish him well in whatever his endeavors are. But yeah, he seems a little off, and
yeah.
I've seen it before in close friends, family members, etc. I know it when I see it, and yeah, he's going the other direction. Amazing he lasted this long with all the impurities, I'll put it as, that have been in. Yeah, exactly. Impurities that have been inflicted on his interior. So yeah, whatever.
I always get kicked out of all the balls, that sort of thing at the beginning.
Oh man, we do that in our band too. It's a crowd pleaser every time.
Is it?
It is, absolutely.
I think "Degradation Rules" was a song he and Tony Iommi recently made. I think he's doing it under his solo project name. And I saw or heard that. I have not heard the song, but God, those two guys, how can you go wrong? They're still kicking.
Really,
I mean, it was the same thing with Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. I don't know how big of a fan you were into Motorhead.
A little bit, not much. I mean, they lived not far from here. They were in L.A. I'm in Phoenix or Glendale, but they'd make rounds to Phoenix, and you see Lenny out there walking down the street with always in his leather. It was 110 degrees here, and he's walking around in his leather. I'm like, dude, come on, man.
He's got balls doing that too.
Well, he has now. He doesn't. So
yeah, that was a damn shame too. Rest in peace, Lemmy.
Yeah, right.
But I think his story was always funny because I think they always seemed like kind of compared to like how Keith Richard was. But I think he was more the drinking type than he was actually the drugs and everything else.
I wouldn't know, but both of them are wow.
They're interesting characters.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. That's the word I was searching for.
Yeah, it's like, you made it this far? Damn, God must really love you, man.
Yeah, I know.
Good on you.
Right. Saw a meme the other day with Keith Richards with his first pet, and it was a baby dinosaur.
It's like Jurassic
awesome.
Park crossover.
Pretty good. Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. It was funny. I laughed.
Yeah. You get those kind of memes, but getting back into you, what sort of drumsticks do you use?
I use Vic Firth 5As, usually, depending on the song. If it requires something a little heavier, I'll use 5Bs. But yeah, Vic Firth is my preferred brand. A lot of times they don't, if music store doesn't have what that I'll pick something else similar. But yeah, I used to do ProMark all the time, and their prices went through the roof, and Vic Firth's not too far behind. But I find the quality to be the same with Vic Firth as the more expensive ProMarks at the moment. So we'll see.
Yeah. I guess, did you notice a bit of a hard transition when you went from ProMark to Vic Firth?
Not really. It's weird because the ProMarks seem to have more glaze on them, so it took a little longer for your hands to wear that glaze off to get a really good grip. Um, where the Vic Firths don't have that. It's pretty much a within a couple days you're really you got them in control.
I'd say yeah, but I was also gonna say you also get the black smudging on your hands because the title
No,
on the
I
sticks.
never got the ink on my sticks, but or on my hands from the sticks. But it just seemed the Pro Marks just seemed a little bit more slippery for a little bit longer for brand new sticks. Hey, you know how it is.
Yeah, yeah. I
You got to
guess
wear off that varnish a little bit and or whatever it is, glaze varnish, call it what you want.
yeah. I want to
But
say it was more because of the sweat on my hands because normally I play pretty fast, so I experiment with a lot of the metal sort of music too, and that's meant to be more for the workout, to be honest. But and you said you don't have get that problem either, so I'm just curious if it's more when you're playing slower, that sort of thing, and then it's just like
actually, I think it's the more sweat that I put on the sticks, um, the faster they become grippable.
that too,
So
yeah,
it wears that stuff off. So the next song I play, I'm like, oh, okay, great. It's yeah, it's better.
yeah. I see what you mean too. Did you ever have those instances where you accidentally hit maybe the bottom side of your cymbal and the stick went flying, that sort of thing during a recording?
All the time,
All the time.
all the time. We're all human. Yeah, I've stopped recording um, like that because I screwed something up and like stop, go get my stick and start up again. It's actually recording where like I'm in the studio type of recording and not recording just my drum videos next door. No, no, I was never. I have a good story about recording as well, if I can indulge.
Good, yeah.
Okay, so I used to at Chase Bank where I used to work, J.P. Morgan Chase. My wife and I worked there, and we worked with this lady that was her boss. Well, I knew her husband, and I knew her obviously because we all worked in the same place. And she called me up one afternoon and says, "Jeff, can Daryl and I come over tonight? It's kind of important." I'm like, "Well, sure, you can come over anytime." So they came over to the house, and Daryl says, "I got a problem." I'm like, "What's the problem?" And Daryl he's a psychologist and a musician who writes and composes everything that he does and hires band members to record it with him, and has many, many CDs and albums out. And I says, "Well, what's the problem?" He says, "I just got my master copy from the recording, my latest album." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." He goes, "Listen to it." I'm like, "Okay." And he gave me the tape and I put it in. And I looked at him and he goes, I'm like, "Those drums sound like shit." Oh,
Oh.
they did. He goes, and it wasn't the playing; it was the recording. It was the mic. Some microphones were. So it was the engineer's fault in New York that either didn't notice or let it slide and figured Daryl wouldn't notice. Well, Daryl notices everything, and he says, "I'm like, so what do you want me to do about this?" He goes, "I've rented a studio for the week in Mesa, which is not all that far. It's not like right next door to me, but it's across Phoenix. It's on the other side of town." He goes, "Can you go in there and record 14 songs for me this next week?" I'm like, "Oh,
Oh.
give me the tape." And he gives me the tape, and that was on a Friday. And he says, "If you can do it, call me Sunday. I'll meet you there Monday." Right? So I listened to that tape all weekend long, and I went in there, and that is the way that I earned a nickname called One Take Janssen, because I played 7 songs the first day in one take, 7 songs the second day in one take, and they're like, "Thank you." So he saved 3 days of recording studio money, and I got my name on his album, and it was no, never dropped a stick during a recording
Studio.
session.
Yeah, actually, was was he a drummer too, or was he a guitar player?
Oh no, he was a guitar player and singer.
Oh, okay, I see. So he
Yeah.
was the front man of the group. Okay.
Oh, he was the man. He was Tonema, Daryl Tonema. mean, you can look him up. He's all over, YouTube and all that. So,
What was the group name?
Tonema.
Tonema. Okay, Tonema.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought that was his last name.
that is his last name.
No, it is his last name. Okay, I'm sorry.
But that's also the name of his group. That's what he goes. That's his stage name as well. So,
Okay.
but good stuff. I mean, he's a very talented man and intellectual writer. Put it that way. Being a psychologist, all his stuff is very. You got to think about it. It's like, oh, well, all right, wow, food for thought. And then I recorded with Manny Charlton from Nazareth. That was a blast. And I don't know what else I can say about that I haven't said already.
I guess just to refresh the story, how that whole thing happened with Nazareth.
Yeah. So when Nazareth, they didn't split up. They just kind of stopped for a while, and they all kind of went their separate ways before they regrouped now, but without Manny Charlton and without the drummer who died and without the bass player. I don't know what happened to him. And now Manny Charlton died, but excuse me. A friend of mine on Facebook contacted me and said, hey, I just got a friend acceptance from Manny Charlton from Nazareth. Can you, maybe you should do the same and show him your drums. Like, yeah, what the heck, why not? I did, and not all that longer later, I got an acceptance from him. And then he started commenting on my YouTube videos as well as the stuff that I'd post on Facebook. I'm like, well, that's pretty freaking cool. I can dig that. And then I got a message from him says, hey, contact me. So I did. I contacted him, and I didn't get any reply until like a month later. And he says, hey, sorry, I was on tour in Mexico. Can you play on my next CD? I'm like, excuse me?
Say what?
Yeah, say what? This is after he gave me his phone number. I called him. He's got his big Scottish accent. Yeah, hey, mate, how you doing, buddy? And like, well, free. Yeah, I can do it for free. So I went out to Dallas, where he lived. He was actually closer to Fort Worth, but I flew into Dallas, Fort Worth.
Same thing.
And he picked me up and took me to dinner and dropped me off at my hotel. Says, I'll be here at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll go back to my house where I have my studio. I'm like, great. I recorded about, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours worth of stuff. And the best thing that he ever said to me was, what do you have, a friggin' metronome in your head? Yeah, pretty much, because he took slices of the song in the program that he uses, Cubase, I think it is, and took it just matched all the way down the line. Like, that's the nicest thing anybody ever said to me.
Yeah,
especially coming from a bona fide rock star. And then he took me back to the airport, and I flew home. And I talked to him since, but he passed away recently, last July. He missed his friggin' 81st birthday by a couple weeks. Too bad.
See. Rest in peace too. So,
yeah, he was a great guy.
I feel bad because the only song I really know from Nazareth was "Hair of the Dog." So
there's so many more good ones.
I know, and I feel bad too because that's the only song they actually played on the radio. Because I listened to.
I know, and that's just a shame too. You gotta check out Razamanaz and turn up your receiver and stuff like that. It's a really good stuff.
I can imagine too, and I feel bad too because they do that with like a lot of bands. Ozzy actually does. Ozzy's Boneyard too. It's like, just play the main hits. There's other songs. You got to play these other songs, man.
You got to play the deep tracks. And that's where I gain most of my traction on YouTube is the deep tracks. People see that and are like, I haven't heard that for freaking years. I totally forgot about that song. And so did I, usually. Yeah. Like, I hadn't heard it until I heard it on, what is it, Time Warp on the weekends and such. You're like, wow, this is from 1981. I was like, I haven't heard that for years, and whatever the song may be. And you're like, I kind of dig that. I'll take that. I'm gonna go look that up as soon as I get home, and download it and play it and all. So
I see too. And that's a hell of a nice story to say. And it's good to see you got to manage to meet him too, even though probably had trouble understanding him because I know those English, but the couple of guys I interviewed from like out of Scotland there, they've had like real good English accents. They are at least understandable too. But I know like that real thick Scottish accent too.
oh,
And,
he was thick, but
yeah,
heart of gold, man. Heart of gold.
Heart of Gold. Yeah, actually, I was going to say about the TV series me and my mom actually watched called Shetland too. Have you? What kind of like TV shows do you like to watch? Kind of get to a little bit of a fun question.
Recent TV shows, I really don't watch a whole lot of TV. I watch more news and sports and comedy than and usually they're rerun comedies. I love my Big Bang Theory and MASH and stuff like that, and sports, of course. My Cardinals. Oh God, what happened there? Oh, they crashed and burned. They
To
really
the ground.
did. Yeah, it was not pretty. It was beaks and feathers everywhere. It was just, it was not pretty.
But on a good note, congratulations to Albert Pujols. He surpassed
Ah,
700
right.
runs.
And Albert and Yachty, what a careers they had. Fantastic. That's amazing. And God bless them. Go on your merry way and make your millions like you will. So,
For some other method, yeah.
right.
You say Yaya Merlino is retiring too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did
That's
not know
it.
that. They're
That's
talking about
it.
Albert the
Yeah.
whole time.
It was Albert and Yachty and maybe Wainwright.
Oh, man.
He's on the fence. He's on the fence. So, yeah, the Cardinals are sad.
Yeah. We're losing them all now.
Yeah, all at once.
Now we got Goldschmidt and Arenado to back it all up now.
Well, yeah, until they sucked wind in the playoffs, they were terrible.
Yeah.
They admitted, yeah, they were horrible.
Yeah. But they at least admitted it too. That's a step in the right direction.
That's all you got to do, man. But
Yeah.
come on, step it up a notch.
But you know what? I used to love the Cardinals way back in the day when they had like Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland. I think they had Carlos Beltran at times, but
Yeah, they had Pujols back then too.
yeah, that's how he started his career. And then he jumped around all over the place, but then he did the right thing by coming
Yeah,
home.
Pujols was in St. Louis for 10 years, and then he went to Los Angeles Angels, and then the last part of last season went to the Dodgers, and then played this year with Cardinals.
Yeah.
That's it. Now he's done. Too
That's a
bad.
great career.
Too bad.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely. First ballot.
But you know what? I agree. He should have got the World Series too. That would have been a hell of a way to go
Oh,
out of
I
it too.
wanted that more than anything, but whatever.
Remember the Cardinals, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Great stuff.
You mentioned a little bit about your bands. I guess talk about your bands a little bit. How many have you been a part of?
So when I was growing up in St. Louis, I played with a lot of different musicians, never really coagulated into a band per se. Would play a party here, and then next time it was a different guitar player, but the same bass player, and just kind of mixed it up. Never really got anything worked out. Same thing during college when I moved out here. It was much that same configuration where one time this guitar and one time that. It wasn't until after I graduated and moved back to St. Louis and then moved back to Phoenix that a bunch of guys that I worked with, they knew I played drums. I said, hey, let's do something. So we did. And we got together and we were called Married with Children. And we did that for about 5 years or so. It was Married with Children because we all were. And then people moved and split up and job changes and whatnot, so that kind of went away. 10 years later, two of those three same guys came back together, and we were called Smite, and we added a singer, and who is now gone. We were together for about 5 years, and then for the last 5 or 6 or so, it's been the same bass player, guitar player, drummer, and my guitar player does most of the singing. I back up as well as sing some lead. And that's now it's called the Don Cole Project because Don Cole is the guy that owns all the equipment. So that's the name of the band. And we play private parties and beach gigs in Mexico and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. COVID kind of screwed that up. Obviously, what didn't it screw up? Which is a bunch of friggin' hokum. But another story for another day.
In a little bit, yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But did you play in Cancun, or was it more like?
No,
just...
it was Puerto Penasco. It's over in the Gulf of California. That's the closest place to the ocean from Phoenix. You go straight down through Arizona, right into Mexico, and there's a big port at the bottom, Puerto Penasco, and nice beach and resorts and all that good stuff. We play right on the beach. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun.
You know, I always find that so weird about Mexico. They have like pocketed cities all over the place, which are like gorgeous and everything.
Yeah,
like certain parts, it's like
in between. It's horrible.
Shantytown, yeah. It's like what gives?
Yeah, you're not telling me anything I don't know, man. Yeah. Puerto Penasco is great. Getting there from the border is quite the other story.
Just pretty wide open, or was there like a lot of?
It's pretty wide open, but there are. The first town you come to is called Sonoita. Don't stop. Just don't stop. Just keep going and go all the way. Take the 60 miles down. Don't stop there.
You got to hold it in until you get to your destination.
Yeah. Just you stop on the USA side of the border, or don't stop until you get to the port of Penasco.
Do tell.
I'll stop there.
Yes, we'll hold it in until we get it there. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So let's just make sure. Walk us through the process of how you make a drum cover, from like picking a song, what sort of devices you use to record it, and then what do you use for editing.
Okay, so easy enough. I either get a request for a song, or I hear a song and make my own request, and then I will listen to that song sometimes, many times, over and over and over in my head, and I'll picture what the drummer does and try and remember the pattern of the arrangement. Like I said before, if the singer says this, I do that, and if the guitar player plays this, I play that. All the way through and memorize it until I can't get it wrong. And then I will record it with this right here.
Canon. That's a good choice.
Yeah, it's a Canon, let's see, Vivia HF G10 high def. And I've had it for, gosh, it's been almost 10 years now. And the first camera I had was a JVC, and it was really expensive when I bought it, but it wasn't HD. And I got this one it was kind of pricey 10 years ago. It was like, I don't know, $1,400, something like that. But the only thing I've had to do with it is replace the batteries, and I get those on Amazon. And I think the sound quality, now that I've figured out how to use all the bells and whistles of the filters on there, my sound quality has gotten way better. And instead of using automatic audio on there, which I used to, it would like way suppress everything. Now I use a manual setting with high, medium, and low filters, and I can set that on the touch screen that thing has. And I think my sound has gotten way better, because I realize there's a lot of audio on my channel from back in the day that's like, what? You got to do that again. Right. So, and I've been diligently going through and going, oh, I'm doing that one again, but this time I'm going to do it from a different camera angle. So, and I do, front, side, back, and that's pretty much it.
I see.
And then I download it to my Windows PC, and the only editing I do per se is I chop off the beginning where got my finger on the button saying, okay, I'm recording now. And I cut off the end wherever it is that I want to cut it off. and I'll add a title, and I'll add a transition to the end of it, and all I use is Windows Movie Maker. That's it.
It's as easy as that. Just
It's
export
as
right to
easy
YouTube.
as that. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of complex. I have this separate program, and it separates all this stuff out. No, no, it's just it is what it is. I have all the audio comes off of one little microphone right here. That's it. It's a microphone. It's a
Yes,
tiny little thing, but the technology is amazing.
absolutely too. And
Yeah,
you don't use drumless tracks. It's just simply the
no,
song itself.
it's the song itself, which is half the fun. I've had a lot of people say, write to me and say, "Hey, where'd you get that drumless track?" I'm like, "It's not a drumless track. It's right off the original CD." They're like, "That's amazing. You covered right over the top of it." I'm like, "That's half the fun."
Yeah,
A drumless track, as fun as they can be, you can do anything the hell you want. Nobody knows if you made a mistake. So, what what fun is that? Not
yeah.
for me. Not for me.
I think you have to use it in those real big collaboration projects. I guess. Have you done a whole
I
lot of
guess that
collaborations?
would. I've only done a couple. One with Drum Man. It was oh gosh, what was it? A Grand Funk song, closer, closer to my world or something like that. Yeah,
Closer,
that's it.
closer to
That's
you.
really, yeah, yeah. It's the only collaboration I've done. Um, Nobody's asked, and I haven't asked either, so I don't care.
Oh, well, I guess we could figure something out about that eventually.
No, sure. I wouldn't mind if somebody, depending on the song. Again, depending on the song.
Don't worry, I'll meet your needs. Don't you worry.
Yeah, right now. Okay.
I guess. Have you ever played on electric drum sets before?
I actually have the fire marshal at my place of employment, which is a large financial industry here. He was a drummer also, and he was moving from Phoenix to Chandler or something like that. And he called me up and says, "Hey Jeff, I got to get rid of a bunch of drum stuff. I'm not selling it. I'm just giving it away. Do you want to come over?" I'm like, "I'm there." So I went over there. I picked up a bunch of stuff, and it happened to be not just a bunch of other, pedals and stands and stuff like that, but a complete Simmons electronic drum set. And I set it up in my garage, and I started playing it, and like, nope. And I gave it to my grandson.
Mm.
It's like, no, no, not at all. And then I did go over to a friend of mine's house who was having a party, and there was his band there, and he plays an electronic set, and everybody's like, "Oh, Jeff, you got to get up there and do that." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." And I did, and I played fine. It felt terrible. So no, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. I know people that play on them amazingly. There's one guy on YouTube that's in the drum channel with Drum Man. I can't remember his name right off the bat, but he's phenomenal, and his set sounds just perfect for whatever song he's playing. He's got it dialed in just amazing. Not for me,
Okay.
just not for me.
Respectfully, not for you. That's okay.
Exactly, respectfully, he's amazing. Me, no, no, I can't do it.
I think I know, but two come to mind was Ash Wells or Throwback Drummer.
Nope, nope, neither of those.
No.
Nah, Mike something, Mike Conway. Yeah, something
Mike
like
Conway,
that.
yeah, it does a lot of Van
Yeah.
Halen's, yeah.
Oh, guys, yeah, dude, it's great, man.
I
Love
did too.
that guy. He's fantastic.
Yeah, no, he's a real cool dude. I like messing with him too. And he hasn't done anything with Sammy Van Hagar's side of Van Halen yet. He's just been strictly more David Lee Roth, that sort of thing.
Got to do both. Got to do
Eventually.
both. I love both. I really do. I had a lot of fun playing both, and actually, Sammy sold more with Van Halen than David did. So
Really? Man.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Their best-selling albums were after David left.
oh no.
Yeah, go
I,
figure.
I was always questioning about that too because in the earlier works, it was like Strictly Eddie's playing style, and you get David going crazy with his acrobatics and
It
loud
was it
shrieks.
was an interesting mix the whole way through. I loved them both. I really did.
I did too, but I would say I drew the line after OU812 from Sammy Hagar because I didn't really dig like the two that came after. Well, I shouldn't say that. I should say for unlawful carnal knowledge, which is FUCK, how they actually did it. But I would say after that, it was like
It was sketchy.
But I would say that album was good. That album was good, but after that, it was like sketchy and that sort of thing too. But like you said, so best of luck going forward. But rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. So
Yeah, no doubt.
it'll be interesting to see where those musicians go afterwards. So make sure I covered everything. All right, let's jump into the harsh reality of COVID. I guess, how bad did it impact you?
Okay. Not at all. Me, zero. I am pure blood, no vaccine.
Take no prisoners.
No, screw that. I'm not sticking poison in my body. I don't care what you think about me, whatever. My wife took the first shot because she wanted to get back into choir at church, and that they wanted to make sure everybody was safe to do that. Within 4 days, she lost her short-term memory. Within a year, she developed a tumor. Now she just had brain surgery for the second time in 2 years. The first time was during COVID. This time was after the shot.
This was all from the vaccine shot.
Of course not.
Okay, I was going to say.
They won't admit that. I just know what I saw.
Okay, sorry. But keep going.
So, I have multiple explanations from 5 different physicians. One is a surgeon who says, interesting. One is a oncologist that says, no, that can't happen. One is a family doctor that says, I can't tell you, you're wrong. One is another a radiologist that said, wow, tell me more. One was an emergency room doctor that said, keep going. And he wrote down like 3 pages of stuff that I regurgitated to him. So right now, COVID sucks, and her short-term memory is still not back, and my life is basically hell trying to babysit this. But you got to do what you got to do, and we'll get through it.
I guess more musically, I guess. I know it really sucks, and I'm really sorry that happened to you. So, but to each your own too, in terms of the vaccines and stuff like that. But in terms of music, I guess, how bad did COVID impact you? Did it allow you to expand into other projects?
Screwed it up. It's totally screwed up the whole tour stuff, and even playing with my local band. Some people were COVID freaks and like, no, we're not. No, you can't come jam here. And it kind of went dry for a good year and a half. And it's starting to pick up again gradually, but I think it was all a bunch of friggin' BS anyway.
Yeah.
Publish that.
Yeah. Oh well. Hey, I do First Amendment rights. I'm just telling you what it is. I'm not trying to create any drama. So, but we still love you nonetheless. It's good to have you along here, buddy. All right. Well, let's get back into some fun stuff here, because obviously it's best not to stick in that sort of dark reality there. But let's get into the fun questions here. And this one, which one is your favorite drink?
In the morning, I like to drink Ovaltine and chocolate milk. The rest of the time, it would be this. Hope you don't mind.
No, go ahead. There's children aren't going to see this thing, even though we have a couple kids in our community too. So we'll be like,
all right, man.
Johnny, you cover your eyes. That sort of thing.
Barley pop is what it is.
Is it? I mean, I don't know what's all mixed into it too, but it tastes good.
It's barley pop. Yeah, that's all they need to know.
I will say, best beer I ever had was the German made over in Munich there at the Hofbräuhaus. It was some sort of ale or something like that. I wish I can remember the name of it, but damn, it was so good. Would you say that's the best beer you ever drank?
No, of course not. It's just the cheapest beer that I like. So Now the best beer that I ever drank, oddly enough, was from Germany as well. My next door neighbor at the time was in the Air Force. He came back and he brought me a bottle of beer. Well, at the bottom of the beer there was a thick cake of yeast. I'm like, what the hell is this? You can't shake it up, and it's warm. He goes, no, 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 no. You set it in your hand and you roll it slowly back and forth. The warmth of your hand will break up the yeast. Once the yeast is all crumbly and in pieces, then you gently turn it upside down a couple times and get that yeast all through there. I'm like, this seems like an awful lot of friggin' work for a beer. Pop it open, drank it, stood up, felt like I drank a six-pack. Stuff was amazing. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I get it now. I get it.
But it was that heavy
warm.
too.
I don't know. It still tasted like. I like cold beer. Sorry.
Yeah, I do. I do too. Yeah, and it's like drinks have to be cold. Food at certain times needs to be hot.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing with pizza too.
I mean, is that asking too much?
I mean, yeah, can we just ask for a simple drink and just have it taste good, that sort of thing? So, just the way you're describing it too, it's almost like, geez, this would be a hassle just to drink a beer. I know people who are not that patient.
I was not patient, and I never did that again. So that, I mean, pretty much answers that question.
Absolutely too. Which one would you say is your non-alcoholic favorite drink?
Oh, absolutely, Ovaltine, chocolate milk. I love that, and just even regular milk.
Drink it by the gallon in like just about a week or so.
Not as much anymore, but yeah, I like it. As far as like a soft drink, Coke. Root beer.
I was gonna say, do they do mostly Pepsi out in Arizona?
No, I don't do Pepsi. It's too sweet.
No. That's a problem with restaurants, I guess. What do you do in the case if you're thinking, I want a Coke, but they only serve Pepsi? What do you do in that case?
Root beer.
Root beer.
Yeah.
My man, too. Good job. All right.
That's right.
So in terms of a drum cover, was there ever a song that was too tough for you to play and you either gave up or came back after a while?
Well, there's a couple that I came back after a while and completed, and the only other one that I didn't complete was that, what was it, Dragon? It wasn't Dragon Slayer. What was it?
Dragon Force. I'm assuming it's For the Fire and Flames. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, that one I just freaking gave up on. I'm like, no, I'm going to kill myself playing this. But Kansas Incomudro, Hymn to the Atman.
That's a mouthful.
It took a long, long, long time to learn and to play. And it really, the drum solo in the middle of that thing is just a booger. I mean, it's really, it took me so long to figure out when to come out of that. Getting into it's easy. Coming out of it was not so easy. And finally got it. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm not playing this again anytime soon. And I hit clip and edit, and I'm posting this. And the other one was probably Rhapsody in Blue from George Gershwin, which the version that I played, and many symphonies and many bands play this song. And it's like it's a decent length. It's like 7 or 8 minutes, something like that. Rhapsody in Blue. The version I played was from the Beijing Symphony, and playing a complete symphony section of a song in the percussion area it's not an easy thing to pull off. And then the next one would have to be the same scenario, but this was the London Symphony, and that was Star Wars, the main theme from Star Wars, which, I mean, I used pretty much every piece in my set, maybe not the high toms, but, the chimes and the gong and, oh my gosh, that song, it's tough. Did I nail it? Nope. Did I come close enough for government work? Yep.
It passed. People gave you credit for it, yeah.
Yeah. Most people will watch it and say, that was friggin' awesome. Drummer would watch it and say, you missed that spot. You missed that spot. You missed that spot. Yeah. Anybody that knows the song intricately would point out my mistakes. I, oddly enough, do not point them out in advance. I don't know why that might be.
I think at that point, if it's like a really hard song, you're just thinking like, I'm done. I got it done. That's all I need. That's all I
That,
need.
that's it. That was it for that one. And it was the day before that the Star Wars movie, that particular year, was coming out. Whatever movie that was, the latest one. And I'm like, Friday, ship it.
Let's do it. And then
Like,
it's like right there.
that's gonna have to be good enough because that was an. I mean, there's a couple others that were tough too, like Hot for Teachers, or and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Actually, speaking of Mike Conway, I think he did a instructional video on how to do the intro there, which I would
Oh, he's amazing. I'm telling you.
absolutely, yeah. And you always thought it was just simply like I guess in this case the floor tom, and then it's like you just bring in the double bass, do 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 that sort of thing. But then I guess it gets a lot more complicated than that.
It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more than that for sure. And I tried to do that with double bass and three toms, and just tried to work it out in my head. I think I got close. Did I nail it? And I've heard so many different stories about that's actually a Harley exhaust pipe, and they go like that. And I've heard other things. Oh, it's all done in the studio, and it wasn't really done, live, and it was overdubs. And I don't know what to believe, but all I know is friggin' awesome. So
that's all that matters.
That's all I need to know. And I loved it, and I wanted to play it, so I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to play it eventually, but got to work towards it. All right.
That's a tough one.
Which drum cover did you love the most?
Oh man, I don't know.
I guess let's just say just this year at least. Let's just keep it that simple.
I don't even know. I mean, let's see how many. Okay, I'm up to 4,659 counting today. No, I really can't give you a favorite.
They're all my favorites.
I'd say one thing, and then 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh no, it was this one. Oh no, it was this one. Yeah, I really don't have a favorite. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess just playing along to it, it's just like each one kind of serves like a memory, so to speak.
It does. It does. Each one is its own special little place in my brain. So
yeah,
recorded and posted and all that. I can go back and listen to that song one time, one take, and I'm done. And it's a wonderful thing to have enough experience to do that, because it wasn't always this way. This is not, just something that comes naturally. I'm not just, a prodigy from a kid. No, I worked my ass off at it. That's all it was.
Here's a second to last question for you. What's your current favorite song, or a song that you listened to a lot recently?
Current song that I listened to a lot recently. Like a current song? I don't have one. I
guess even if it's like an old time song, like just pull one from like Van Halen, for instance, and you just be like, man, I like listening to it. I don't think I covered it yet. That sort of thing.
I'd have to say, that wouldn't be Van Halen. It would probably be Zeppelin, and that would probably be the Wonton song. Love that song.
Yeah. I recently love like No Quarter for some reason, even though I would say the drums are pretty simple in that one. Too. Actually, Tool did a cover of that song, No Quarter. And,
you know what? My old next door neighbor just sent me that and said, "Here, do this." Tool, No Quarter. It's like, all right, so I've got it. I've got the recording of it. I haven't learned it yet or recorded it, but it's pretty close to. I mean, Danny Carey, come on, playing Bonham, it's pretty crazy.
Well,
but he really didn't do much with it, from what I heard.
I'd say he made it more Tool kind of style, and I think he added a lot more to it. I think Bonham was doing his thing, so to speak, but it wasn't like overtly complex, so to speak.
No. I thought Danny would make it a lot more complex than he did, but it's all right.
It's at least in time, that much. It's at least in time. It's a lot longer than the Zeppelin one, but it's at least...
Oh, yeah. Except the live version. The live Zeppelin version is a long, long version.
I can imagine, too. And then again, the show must go on, that sort of thing.
It does.
All right. All right. So, did you have any questions for me or anything you want to say before we jump to the last question?
Nope.
All good?
Yeah,
All
good.
right. So, this last question here, I know it sounds cliche and just want to just try to give your best answer as best you can too. But given what COVID has done, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there?
Well, I think it's all over now. Things have opened wide up here where I live in Arizona. I know there's still a few hot spots where it seems like it's more politics than medical. But yeah, it's we're ready to go. Get out there and play and live your dream. That's all I got to say. Get out there and do it. We're good to go.
Get out there and just do it. That's the Nike slogan. Yeah,
Do it.
that sort of thing. That's pretty cool. And I have to say, Arizona, it was actually a beautiful state when I was there too. But it was funny seeing like all these big hills, big rock hills, just all surrounding the city there, and thinking like, I just look out to the left and think like, what the hell is that? It's like a giant hill just sticking out in the middle of nowhere.
I'm looking at one right now, so
There's one right out there.
I'm surrounded by them. So yeah.
And funny enough, like the first 2 days we were there, it was a day that it rains like 20 times out of the year in Arizona, but it didn't last like very long, fortunately. So
You came here and it rained.
it,
Come back. Come back.
I was gonna say,
You need come back and make it rain again. We need that.
do you?
Yeah.
I think it just rained like a little bit, then like rained like briefly, and then they didn't like last very long, but it was like just real brief kind of storms. But I will say I was fortunate to see the Grand Canyon when I did, because the one morning it had just rained like real briefly, and then the fog just came in, just clouded up everything
Oh
too.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, we felt so bad for this British couple that was there, and they they came back after like 20 years, because I guess they were there 20 years before, and I guess I don't know if they had a similar experience, but we felt so bad. And I'm thinking like,
They it fogged up and they couldn't see it.
you couldn't even like see maybe 20 feet out there. You just see the ledge, and it's just
Yeah.
all white in front of you.
Sedona's better anyway, and you know Grand Canyon's the prettiest ditch in the world. I'll give it that. Yeah, I hope you got a chance to see Sedona.
I did see Sedona. That was actually
All
our
right,
first stop.
you got to see the that's God's backyard right there.
Was it?
Oh yeah, that's fantastic scenery. Some of the best.
There was actually that little church I wish we went to go see. I think it was like tucked along one of the hills there.
Chapel of the Cross.
Yeah, that one. And
Oh, it's spectacular.
I really wish they took us there, but they didn't. We just had to like see the big cross out in the distance when we were driving along the main stretch of road there.
Right, 89A, and you can pull up into there and walk up the hill to the cross and actually go. It's open all the time. You can go in there and light a candle and say a prayer and whatever floats your boat. But yeah, it's spectacular view. Once you're up in there, now you're looking down on Sedona. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
You know, as cool as Sedona was, it was mainly just like the stores and stuff like that. And so I kind of felt a little bummed, but I did love the scenery in and around it too. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the stores are great too. You know, all the artsy fartsy folks are up there selling their wares and their crystals and their vortexes and their all that happy stuff. But it's fun. It's a great place to go.
And the mind readers too. I guess they had a lot
Oh
of
sure, well
that whole thing.
they would have known before I got there, but I wasn't going to go.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Jensen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
All right. So, Jeff, you're reaching out on my podcast right here. Did you have any shout outs or any last words you want to say?
Just thanks to everybody that's been supporting my channel and just keep rocking. Never give up when you're out there, man. Just if you want to get better, then make yourself better. Just keep practicing. It's the only way you're going to get better. Practice, 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 practice. That's it.
That's our thing. Actually, I was thinking of two slogans. I think it was like, die before you quit. That's our thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's a little dark, so I thought die standing up would probably be better, that sort of thing.
I'll quit when my hands are cold. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Jeff, thank you again so much for coming on.
My
Stay
pleasure.
safe. Stay tuned, y'all.
You as well, bud.